Hi everyone, my name is Mayurika Chauhan, founder of Unique Study Overseas and an alumni of University of New Haven. So I'll guide you through this webinar on applying to US as well as Canadian universities. So we'll try to understand the admission process. So through this webinar, you will learn how schools evaluate applications, how to research for schools, universities, how to find the right school for you. So, before we begin, I want to share some perspective on one of the biggest misconception or a myth over here. Applying to US university is a complicated competition to win an acceptance through a limited number of top schools because attending top school is the only way to ensure bright future. The idea is mistaken and misguided. Why? Because when you look at articles, websites, movies, everything tells us that admission is an impossible, stressful competition that rarely ends well. It is happening why? Because we tend to focus only on more selective schools like Ivy League, Stanford, MIT, and others that accept a small fraction of their applicants. So, if you look beyond those 200 schools, you are going to be pleasantly surprised by what you find because it's not about the ranking of the school, it's about the journey that matters. So, when you complete your course, you're going to see the exciting possibilities that come with the US education. Yes, you can aim high and apply to highly selective schools if those schools are a good fit for you. So here we'll start with the application processing in the US universities. Once we are done, we'll talk about the Canadian universities application process, and then we can start with the questions. So now it always comes in our mind when we should apply, when the university will take a decision, when we should begin our studies. So honestly, all US universities offer admission only for the fall academic session. Not only for the fall academic session, it also offers for Jan, but it depends. So US admission process takes a lot of time, even months. The reality is that by May 1st of each year, the long process is rarely finished, especially for undergraduates, not for the graduates. So the fall term typically begins in August. So in order to begin your studies in August, you should apply many months earlier. So fall application deadlines can arrive as early as November. Not all application deadlines sorry guys. So not all application deadlines are that early, but most will arrive between December and February. So now here the question arises, if the university, how the university will grant me admission when all my documents are not there with the university, when I haven't completed my secondary school or I'm still in my B.Tech or in my B.Com. So you don't have to get panic in such situation. Why? Because at most you could be asked to submit predicted exam scores when you apply. Like for example, if you have completed 6 semesters of your B.Tech, then of course you are eligible to apply. And later on, once you have the offer in your hand, you can submit the scores of your remaining semester. So you'll get a conditional offer letter. Now, school releases their admission decisions at all different times. Like, for example, Ivy League release their admission decision in late March or early April. You might university release their admission decision if you are applying for financial aid as well. School also release their financial aid decision at all different times. So when I say financial aid, it could be need based, it could be merit based. So we'll talk about this later. So you get financial aid package with your acceptance or weeks later or months later. It is not necessary that when you apply for your financial aid, the same time you will get the reward from the university. In case you are unable to complete your application in time for the fall session, like I said, there is a spring session to apply for in case you are unable to complete your session for the fall academic session. Then you can consider the next academic term that begins in January and it is known as spring session. Although you might not be able to find a lot of options to apply for during the spring session. So there are many people who ask me, how do I make my application stronger? Honestly, there are no right way to make your application stronger. Some students use time after graduation, like once you are graduated from, India or any other country, then you can use that particular time to make your application stronger while you apply for your master's. So when I say stronger, it could be, you can write a research paper, you can show your experience, which should be relevant to your profile, you can show your publications, you can show your community service, etc. The possibilities are endless. Why? Because in the US, schools are evaluating your overall profile, not only your academic information. Like if you have completed your 12th, say for example in 2015, and you want to apply for your bachelor's, like for example from 2018 or 2019, then you have to show like what you did in that particular time, and then you can apply for associate degree, and later on you can take a transfer to any of the US university. In this way you can save the cost and you can get a degree from the one of the US universities. So it's not necessary that that if there is a gap you cannot apply to any of the university and you haven't done anything, that you won't get admission in any of the US university. It is not that. If you have if you are able to show the extracurricular activities in your profile, then of course you are able to seek admission in any of the US universities. Now, US university use all of your application to evaluate you for admission. So of course, they will consider your test scores, but test scores is not the only criteria. They will consider your testing, but they will also consider the other external factors. So when I say external factors, it could be your internship, it could be your research paper, it could be your publications, it could be like you are a sports person. These all factors matters a lot. Now, if you submit your transcript, how the university will get to know, whether you have good personal qualities or your characteristics are good, or you are an athlete, or you have published any paper, now the SOP and the letter of recommendation comes into the picture. This is how US universities get to know about you as a person, and then they consider all the factors to evaluate you for admission. So just remember this, only test scores doesn't matter. Your overall profile matters a lot. Now in the US, there are over 4,000 universities. Out of those 4,000, you're going to apply to a handful ones and you're going to attend only one. So remember that. It is sounding like a lecture, but you need to remember that ranking is not the only criteria. Your journey matters a lot. What you have studied during that point of time, it matters a lot. Now, applications are hard. Trust me, it is hard to build a proper application, especially in case of US university. They require a lot of time, a lot of work. So better your application, the better your chances for admission. Now, what all documents are required to apply to US university? First, your application form. It should have all the information. Then your academic documents. So when I say academic documents, you should have your transcripts, your degree, your 12th mark sheet, etc. So remember one thing while applying. Never apply with a consolidated one, because in this case universities take a lot of time to review your application. The consolidated mark sheet may not show your progress that a semester wise mark sheet would show. So always try to submit semester wise mark sheets instead of the consolidated one. Now your test scores like your SAT, your ACT, IELTS, GMAT, GRE. So SAT is required if you're applying as an undergrad, GMAT or GRE is required if you are applying for any of the grad programs. Now your essays, statement of purpose, which is the most important thing. Then your letter of recommendations, which plays a very important role in evaluating your application. Then activity list. What comes under activity list? That we have been discussing so far. Your paper, like research paper, your experience, which should be relevant to your overall profile, your degree, and your extracurricular activities, what you are doing for the society, if you are doing any community service, etc. It does matter a lot. Then other part depends on every university's specific requirement, or the interview part as well. So when I say university specific requirement, I'll give you an example for this. Say university just created a new major program, like nowadays it is in trend, sports management. So university just created a new major, say MS in sports management, which happens to be the major you are applying for. Bingo, you got the admission, because that is a new program in the university, and since university just created it, of course university will take you as student. Now, student can fit in different ways. Fit can be academic. So when I say academic, like there are some schools in the US, they consider good grades and they check whether you are a hard worker, you have good grades, which is enough for them. Bingo, you got the admission. But there are other schools as well where good grades are not enough. They want to see a passion for knowledge. They want to see your love of learning. So here SOP and letter of recommendation plays a major role. Why? Because none of these qualities, like your passion for knowledge and your love for learning, will show in your statement, in your transcripts. It will only be shown through statement of purpose and letter of recommendation. Now Sometimes question comes up, what should I put in my statement of purpose? So statement of purpose, should talk about you, your journey. What are your long-term goals? So how the course that you are applying to is related to your long-term goals. Why you want to go to the United States? How this will fulfill your dreams? And why you want to go for this university only, particular university? These all questions should sum up in the statement of purpose. It should be in brief, of course. Now, let's go to the next slide. It must be sounding like a lecture to you all, I guess. So, US education cost money. Trust me, it costs a lot of money. So, what do you mean by tuition? Tuition is the money you only pay for your education, especially your classes, especially only for your classes. So, paying for a US education can be the biggest obstacle in studying in the US. Unfortunately, tuition is not the only bill that you have to pay. You have to pay for your room and board, you have to pay for the health insurance, etc. Trust me, there is no government standard in the US for tuition fees. Only institutions set up their unique, set of tuition fees. So here is the table which says, how much you will cost for the public university or the private university. So if you are going for an undergrad program, you end up paying $25,000 per year. It includes, sometimes it includes your accommodation as well. So it depends on university to university. And you end up paying 34,740 per year for in case of private university, and it might include your accommodation as well. Like I said, it depends on university to university. For the grad programs, you end up paying in for public university 20,000 to 35,000 US dollars as a whole for the whole program, not just only for one program. And in case of private university, you end up paying $40,000 for the whole program, not just for 1 year. At some universities, the figure might even soar above $50,000 per year. It depends on university to university because some Ivy League universities are very, very expensive. However, MBA or MD program can typically be more expensive than a master's. Now, here the part of funding comes into the picture. Like I was discussing, there is a need-based funding. In this case, you have to put an application there, or you can fill a form that you are looking for, a funding, financial aid, since you are only able to pay, like for example, $10,000 or $20,000. The rest, for the rest, you require financial aid. So in such scenario, you can, write an application to the university, and there are others funding as well, which is called merit-based funding. Some people call it as scholarship. So this is based on your scores. It could be an athletic one if you are like a state level player or an international level player. And if you are good in writing, some university consider this as a criteria for scholarship. So this is how you apply for the scholarship. And scholarship is not like, if you'll ask me, ma'am, can I get the scholarship in this at this score? Even I cannot answer this question because it totally depends on the university. They will consider your overall profile, and then they will grant you scholarship. So here we are done with the US part. Now, the question comes, which program I should apply for, in the US? So you have to think about your overall profile and check what is the scope of the program in that particular university or in that particular country. Like, for example, you in the US, courses like, data science, artificial intelligence, cyber security, business analytics, these all courses have a very good scope in the US, and the job opportunities are tremendous. Now let's come to Canadian universities and colleges. So why you should study in Canada? Because they are affordable. They have affordable tuition fee and living expenses, and they have flexible degree programs, and their main or the primary criteria is your academic score. So if you have scored above 60%, then you match their primary criteria. Also, the cost of living in Canada is pretty low. They require IELTS score of 6.5 with not less than 6 for PG programs in most of the colleges. However, there are some colleges which accepts 5.5 in one of the modules. That is okay, but the options are pretty low. And like Ivy League universities, like for example, McGill, University of Toronto, they all require GMAT as the admission criteria for the professional programs like MBA. Now, the cost. In Canada, the cost start from Canadian $15,000 to $25,000 per year. So it starts from 15,000 and could go up to 25,000 per year from a college to a university. Now, Ruchira, here is the answer of your question. What is the difference between universities and colleges in Canada? From university, you'll get a degree, but from a college, you get a diploma. The fee in college is pretty less than the fee in the university. Like for example, there's so many colleges, and let's take the fee for one of the colleges. I'll not name it. It's 7.5 lakhs per year. So you spend somewhere around 15 or 16 lakhs for the whole program. And if you talk about any of the university, like for example, Trent University or Trinity Western University, then you end up paying somewhere around 13 to 14 lakhs per year. So there is a difference of cost, there is a difference of degree. In university, you get a degree, in college, you get a diploma. I hope I answered your question. Okay. So, yes, living cost, it's pretty cheap if you compare it with other countries. You end up spending somewhere around 5.5 to 6 lakhs per year in Canada, and it depends on area to area as well. It could go up to 12,000 per year in terms of living cost. So the estimated cost is 22,000 Canadian dollars, which could go up to 37,000 Canadian dollars per year. This is where HDFC Credila would help you out. Now, employment opportunities. Yes, in Canada, you can work part-time uh, on campus as well as off campus. So, on campus means you can work uh, within the campus, like you can take care as an uh, assistant, you can work as an assistant, you can work in the library, you can work under a professor in the university cafeteria, etc. And you can work off campus as well, but there is a limit, there's a cap. You can work 20 hours per week, and then during breaks you can work full time. There are co-op programs available paid internships, in short. So if you have completed 2 years of graduation there in Canada, you get a stay back of 3 years. Yes, PR is easy to gain if you have a degree or a diploma from there, and if you have worked in Canada for a long period of time, then you can apply for PR. There's no language barrier. Even if you go to Montreal, government will pay you to learn French language. So there is no language barrier. So what extra points you should note? So if you're applying, in McGill, McMaster, University of Toronto, etc., you should apply in January because the deadline, of course, is January. Now, sometimes students say, I want to go to this particular university, but I am not, I didn't get the acceptance in that university. There is an alternative way, only in case of undergrads though, that you take an admission in one of the good colleges like George Brown, Humber. Then you complete 1 year over there and they take a transfer to their partner university from next year onwards. It could be any, it could be University of Alberta, it could be Trinity Western University, it could be McGill or McMaster, University of Waterloo, etc. Okay, now uh, let's come back to the question part. Uh, Next question. What are the top universities in Canada by Aarti Patel? So, if I talk about top universities are like through ranking. You should go to the university, which matches your criteria. So when I say matches your criteria, which program that you're applying to, whether that university is good in that program or whether that university leads in that program. So since you're directly asking for the top universities, it is like University of Waterloo, University of Alberta, Trent University, and there is McGill, McMaster University, and then University of British Columbia. There are, these are like top 10 universities in Canada. It is as per the ranking though. I hope I answered your question, Aarti. Yes, this question is from Ruchira. Yes, you can work while studying in Canada. You can work 20 hours per week on campus as well as off campus. So I would suggest you, it's better to work on campus, take an assistantship under a professor, work in a library. That will help you to grow further and will increase your knowledge, of course. Or you can, teach students within the library. If you could brief me about your question, how much is the processing time for study permit? You mean to say how much is the processing time for your applications and at what period of time you get the visa? Is that where your question is? So if you talk about the processing time for study permit, it takes like somewhere around 1 month, although it depends on university to university and college to college. And sometimes it takes more than a month as well to get your study permit from any of the college or university. Okay. Now, are there any internship opportunities in Canada? Yes, of course. I always suggest my students definitely go and enroll yourself in the international department of the college or university. And when you are enrolled there, definitely you'll get a lot of opportunities from there and for the internship. You can side by side apply outside the campus as well, and you can take university's help to apply for internship. I hope I answered your question, Mansi. Then from Ruchira, how many intakes are there in USA? See, the major intake is fall. If you are unable to complete your application in fall, then of course there are other intakes, which is spring. So spring starts from January onwards, and there are universities which offer admission in April. You might not be able to find major programs, but yes, there are certain programs open in Jan and April intake. Now, let's come to the effect of coronavirus pandemic. Of course, we all are suffering through this, and we are in a lockdown period. We cannot even go out and meet and greet people, and we cannot, counsel every student in the school or college. So now, what are the facilities or the benefits that universities are offering during this time? There are many universities and colleges which are offering application fee waiver. So you don't have to pay like, $100 or $150 for application fee. Like for example, California State University in the US, they are offering application fee waiver of $100. Uh, then there are many universities which are offering relaxation and recommendation letters, because they do understand that schools are closed, even offices are closed, and it would be difficult for you people to arrange recommendation letters. So universities are offering relaxation. Like for example, Northeastern University in the US, you can apply without recommendation letters to any of the programs, but this is only in case of like College of Professional Studies. Now, there are universities which are offering GRE and GMAT waiver, like in New Jersey Institute of Technology, and then there is, California State University. They're offering GRE and GMAT waiver to the students. But I would definitely suggest students to definitely apply for GRE and GMAT later on, because this helps in getting scholarship as well as assistantship within the university. Now, application deadlines has also been extended. Like, there are universities which had a deadline till 31st of March. Now they have extended till 10th of April, and some have extended to 15th of April. So you have time to apply for such universities. Now, some questions are, I got the offer letter in September, but I don't know about, how the situation would be. Would I be able to go for September intake or not, which is generally called fall intake. So in such scenario, if you are unable to attend the fall session, then university will defer your offer to a later intake, which is the Jan intake. So you don't have to, worry about such situation. And in Canadian universities, like you are given a time frame that you have to pay your fee till in like 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So now during coronavirus pandemic, this deadline has also been extended. If you are unable to pay the fee, then extension is granted. Even IELTS centers are closed, students are unable to give IELTS exam or GRE or GMAT exam. There are some universities, which are accepting Duolingo scores for English language proficiency for some courses, but not for all the courses. But yes, for some courses, they are accepting Duolingo scores. Even there are universities which are accepting IELTS score of 4 years as well. Although IELTS score is valid for 2 years, but now in this situation, universities are even accepting 4 years of IELTS exam as well. so you can avail benefit right now. Although the situation is not good though, but still universities are getting lenient towards admission process. What is OPT? So OPT is optional practical training. It you can call it as a stay back. So once you finish your program in the US, you get an OPT. Now here comes a topic of STEM or non-STEM program. STEM program like data analytics, business analytics, artificial intelligence, cyber security, computer science, engineering, they all come under a STEM program. So if you have applied like for MBA with a concentration or a specialization in business analytics or data analytics, you get an OPT of somewhere around 24 to 36 months. And if you are going for a non-STEM program, you get an OPT of 1 year. And it depends on course to course, 1 year or 1.5 years. I hope I answer your question. Now this is Aarti Patel. After having visa, within how many days I can go to USA? It depends, like, when I got the visa in the month of July. My session started in September and I went there in September. So it's up to you. You can either go at the same time, you can either go after a month. Since you have the visa, you can go anytime after you have the visa in your hand. And in case you want to reach out to me, you can reach out anytime or write to me to Mayurika at uninext.com, or you can reach out to me at 9654 223759. I will repeat my email. It's Mayurika, Mayurica at Uninext, UNINXT, uninext.com, or you can give me a call anytime at 9654 223759. So thank you so much guys for attending this webinar, and I hope I have answered all your questions, and it was nice answering all your questions. Okay guys, take care. Bye bye.